Welcome to Connect2Grow's Quarterly Connect conversation. And today we're talking about side hustles and mentoring. And I have the amazing Alan, that's a venture builder and very, very experienced in this space of both side hustles, mentorship, as well as building businesses. Welcome, Alan. And I've got some logistics to take care of. So whilst you're introducing yourself, I'm going to head over onto Instagram and get us live there.
No, great. Okay. Hi, Aneesa. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be on here and chatting to everybody this afternoon, and hopefully looking forward to the engagements from everybody. I'm Alan Fok. So this is quite a aligned discussion, both from a personal side and from what I do now. How I switched into my current role was actually through a side hustle. I was working a full-time corporate job, and while I was doing that, I started training myself up as a business coach, and through that decided that that is what I wanted to do, and transition full-time into supporting entrepreneurs in their early stages in their journey. That is what I've been doing for the last since 2015. So going on 10 years now. 10 years this year. And then, really helping people do more than one thing, pushing them to do that, transition from one job into another, transition from a corporate job into side hustle, or just building that business from the ground up, and building a strategy, helping them with clarity on those pieces, what that journey looks like, and what you need to put behind it to make that business happen. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. Love it. I mean, this is something that I think most people, especially in our economic climate, not just locally and domestically, but on a global stage, I think many people are heading towards having a side hustle, because your current salary or income is not just enough, does just not suffice enough for one's economic needs anymore. But let's delve right in. I mean, I'm going to start off with just a wild card question, and it's, what's the wildest or most unexpected way you've seen someone start a side hustle? And then for everyone watching, was your first side hustle born out of passion or necessity? Engage with us, please. Drop a passion or need in the chat wherever you're watching from, be it Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube. So over to you. I mean, what's the wildest one you've ever come across, Alan?
Wildest side hustles. I've I, the reason you start me there is that I don't find any side hustle surprising. I think that's why I like doing what I do, and which I've had people start businesses from the ground up, starting people doing corporate jobs, but then finding that they actually have a passion in the food side, and starting a restaurant, or starting a food business, or that's something that's more interesting to them. And I'm finding that if you lean into what you love a bit more, it makes it easier for you to actually do what you want to be doing. Also, I don't believe that you should just be doing one thing. And I think the wildest thing that I've seen with people is that they actually able to express themselves quite nicely in showing all parts of themselves, not just what they a corporate persona that they have, or a friends persona, or a I think one of the things which we'll get into, Aneesa, is what is the definition of a side hustle. And I don't know if side hustle is the right term for it all the time. And one of those things there is that maybe a better definition of that is a second hustle, third hustle, fourth hustle. I think I've mentioned to you in the past there, my belief there is that one person, both from a financial stability piece and expression side, is that you should be doing between 3 and 5 things um, at one go. So if you're doing 3 to 5 things, you're hustling 5 things. But is it necessarily side hustles? Um, that's a debate I'm willing to throw out on the table there. Yeah, being asking what's wild in that is some of the side hustles I've seen have actually become the main business. So people working corporate
Sure.
jobs, their corporate job actually became the side hustle to what they transitioned into. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it comes back to the why, right? So sometimes we start something on the side, but we're wanting to build some form of a legacy and leave that as something that we want to be remembered by. Or maybe it might not be that, maybe it's just necessity. Hence, I've asked the question, please let us know when you've started, is it for passion, purpose, legacy building, or is it just simply a need? And I know there's no right or wrong answer with that one, but it's interesting for me to see the why people started. And I think we're going to delve into a bit later some of your insights and your wisdom around where this actually originates from. But let's move on. So I like to do real talk, as you know. One of the biggest struggles
Hmm.
is juggling everything. As entrepreneurs and business owners, or employed people, or students that are starting, their own businesses within their learning careers. When you see people trying to balance whether that full-time job or their studies and the side hustle, what makes some people thrive and others burn out in your experience that you've witnessed?
In my experience, it's how you resource it. What is the focus that you have behind it? What is the outcome that um, what are you doing this hustle for? Okay, if you're clear about that and um, you've got the purpose behind why you're doing it, exactly what you said. The why is important. That controls the burnout piece. Burning out is when you're not in control, when you don't know what you're trying to achieve, when you don't know when you should be letting go of a hassle. Um, um, if you so I think, well, the best way to manage burnout is just to be in control. um, what's How do you need to be resourcing your side hustle? Are you putting enough resources behind it? Are you um, are you actually even passionate about it? One of the things I like to say sometimes is that is it a hobby or is it really a hassle? Okay, if it's a hobby, then it's okay to treat it as a hobby, but then that's what it is. If it's a hassle and you're expecting some returns from it or expecting some outcomes from it, it needs to be exactly that, and it needs to be measurable. So I think I like to use the SMART goals, be with specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. Um, it's the same with the hustle. You need to know what the purpose of the hustle. Okay. Um, yeah, I think I've lost your
I
sound there.
was on I was on
Okay,
mute
go for it.
there.
Yes.
So I'd like to add to the smart and make it smarty. In my training that I've
Hmm.
received, we've come to realize that if something is not inspiring, we won't take inspired action. So
Hmm.
quite frankly, I feel that instead of just leaving it in the traditional sense of it needs to be a smart hustle, a smart goal, or a smart purpose, or smart actions, when we say smarty and we bring the inspiring part, we really are pushed to show up every day, regardless of how stressed we are, how overwhelmed we are, because we know what we're doing is for the greater good of who we're serving and the impact that we want to be leaving. So,
Hmm.
just some thoughts around that. I mean, how do we make sure people stay inspired alongside their hustles? I see there's a comment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashif. Ashif is from
I sh-
Canada. Thank you for joining us. Finding
yes.
a
Fit and
fit and
fulfillment.
fulfillment.
I think it
Yes,
definitely is important to find a fit there. And you said you got that slide. That's
I
can you pop
do.
that up
I do.
and maybe just
I
speak to
would
that
love to show
that
that
piece
because
there?
I think it's relevant to bring it
Yeah,
up right now. So let me just
yeah,
hide Ashif's comment and hopefully
yeah.
you can see it clearly. Let's go into this part of the conversation and let me take out the other banner so that it's fully on the screen. You're welcome to
So
go ahead.
what I'd like to focus on with when I'm sitting down with a potential client or just speaking to them is really work out for them what is it that they're doing, what is the current impact of what they're doing, um, so why are they doing it, what is it that they're doing there,
Mm,
are they understanding of the context they're in, what life stage are you in, what do you need this to be a necessity, do you need this to be earning you extra money, do you want this to be a full-time job that you bring, so you really need to contextualize that and set that up in what the context is on the bottom left hand corner. If you know
yes.
what you're currently doing on today and you align that with the context, you know how to set up the plan. That becomes your strategy. Okay.
Mm,
The strategy is with every strategy, you should have an exit strategy. You should know how long the string is, when it ends, when you've achieved that, and all those pieces of strings and all those exit strategies need to lead up to your legacy of what you want to leave behind when you are gone. So that's the picture that I like to look at. That's how I like to look at all these pieces there. If you go to that next slide, and I think just to show very um, is that every hassle is one of those strings. And you can see how they're all interwoven, how they all cross over with each other. You need to, I think, as the comment was made there, you need to make sure that there is a fit into how it fits into your legacy there, how it interwovens.
mm,
And from that, there has to be a purpose towards it. You need to be fulfilled by it. If there's no fulfillment that you're getting from it, um, there's no purpose behind it. If there's no purpose behind it, then it's wasteful effort. You're not achieving what you're doing, but you're not achieving. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean I echo that sentiment and it's really around getting intentional with yourself and knowing that the awareness you have of what it is you excuse me cultivating is not only about you, it's bigger than you. And you're right, the interdependencies between all these areas or categories of our intents, I want to say, or hustles. What's another word you want to use for it? Because you said early on you're not too keen to refer to it as a hustle. What would the reframe be, Alan?
the reframe that I'd like to put out there is, and a story to share from, this is probably about 20 or 30 years back when I was in, my just out of college days, and I did a trip down to Cape Town, and going around there, going to the restaurants, going to entertainment pieces there and everything, and it was mainly around the people that were actually working around there. And you get chatting to them and you find out from them, what is it that you do?
Mm-hmm.
And the common answer was that it was always about, I'm a writer slash actor slash bartender. um, and it's every person you spoke to, it's about, this is my slash. So eventually it kind of became a bit of a favorite joke of mine, where I went around and asked them, what is your slash? And surprisingly enough, people actually understood and said to me, these are my slashes. So I'd like to reframe it and say it's not a side hustle. It's what are your slashes? What is the 3 or 5 or 7 slashes that fully express you, fully express what you have to offer and what you have to do. Um, so that's the reframe that I take from that piece there. the
I love
side
it. It's
piece.
like a
Yeah,
hashtag this, but this is, becomes the slash times 4, 5, whatever many slashes there are. So I'm going to go back
yeah.
to the audience. Don't forget to engage with us. Are you juggling a 9 to 5 or a slash? I'm going to reframe it and drop whatever you need to if that's you. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you're a student and in the on this entrepreneurial journey, let us know, engage with us, ask us questions. Alan is a a consummate professional and experience in this area, but I want us to move and change gears a little bit. So I think we've all had that moment when we ask, do I take the side hustle full time or do I let it go? What are the signs that it's time to make it that leap or time to pivot? Given the context that you just gave us now, that there are many slashes, so how do we
Mhm.
discern between which one becomes the more permanent one and the others are just the follow-on slashes, to use your language?
It's so being purposeful, being goal setting, having that intentionality of how does this contribute to my legacy? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and are you able to dedicate full time to the slash or to these slashes? Okay, um, do you have the resources behind it? Do you have the time? Do you have the thinking? Do you have the skills, talents, and all those pieces there? And one of the pieces was starting a hustle or slash, all those pieces there. It doesn't happen. There's not a direct cutover. So even when you start in a slash, when you work in I'll put it this way. Um, I started my transition probably about 4 years before I actually left my job, my corporate job. What
Mm,
it takes there is that you need to be ready for it. You need to start preparing your skills for it, the building all those pieces up, the knowledge behind it, the networks of people that you need to do, the possible financial resources where you start in a business. So you need to have a funds to carry you for a certain period of time before you do those pieces there. So when's the right time to do it? Well, if you're thinking about a hustle, this is the right time to start it. Okay. When do you
mm,
actually switch over to it? Well, you need to ask yourself the questions: is this really what? Is this going to be able to deliver on what I need from it um, to, to 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 deliver on my legacy?
mm.
And yeah, so does that give a bit of an answer to
Absolutely,
when?
absolutely. Let me just read some of the comments here again so we can not let our audience feel left out. She says, building something that outlives you. I think that we concur to that around what is the legacy that you want to build and how will people remember you, or how
Mm.
does somebody carry on this legacy that you have built? And then we have a student from Ciba Ignition Academy, well, Ciba Business School, my apologies. Hello, Baloch Bolomewa. Yes, you're trying some modeling on the side and promoting. Interesting. So, I suppose that's comfortable to navigate between studying and doing the modeling. Now, I may be wrong. Is this modeling on a ramp on the catwalk? And promoting as in doing promotional work. Have I understood you correctly? Please let us know. But lovely to hear that you are doing so and that you have that entrepreneurial mindset already around looking at what are the other possibilities. I will have a question for you. How are you finding support on your journey, Baloch? Maybe you want to share with us. Are you navigating this world by yourself? Are you getting a mentor along the side? Let us know, because we're going to be delving into that conversation very soon around mentorship, especially because we're on the Connect to Grow Quarterly, which is about connecting community and mentorship. So let's see, there's another comment from Tanya. Sometimes the pressure to leave a legacy can feel overwhelming, like a weight you never asked to carry. But not everything we build has to be for the world or for the future. Sometimes it's enough to create something that simply lives for you. That's how I feel about my side hustle. Wow, I love that. What is your response to that, Alan?
Spot on there, and that last piece from Tanya, where she said you have to be doing it for you. Don't do it for
Mhm.
it's your legacy. I think we tend to feel that we need to create a legacy that's public for everybody else. But it's we should just be living it for ourselves. Build the legacy of what we want to deliver, what we want to be fulfilled. And the previous comment there. Um, when we try and
Yes.
build something else that other people expected, it's not always possible. It's not always something that can be done. And that's where we feel overwhelmed and feel the pressure on ourselves, where um, you're not living your story, you're living somebody else's story. Or put a different way, you're not on your agenda. So
Absolutely.
to I want to go back to Balash's piece there as a student, to commercial modeling, adverts, print. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's great. I think it's great that you're experimenting and doing that. And um, what I want to say that sometimes the best time as to I'm going to share with you my undergrad is in BSc IT, so full IT, doing those pieces there. And what I found is that through my years, I transitioned totally away from that, and working more with people, working with mindset, and working with the culture of people, and that's taken me totally away from what I on paper am classified as. Okay, but as a student, it's good to be. It's the best time to experiment. It's the best time to do as many hustles as possible to find what actually works. Because yeah, I'll be honest with you, when I was 20, 21, starting out my career, I kind of fell into my career rather than being in control. It took me another 20 years to work out what I was good at, what I was able to do. And um, finding out those hustles was actually through going through those journeys, playing around with those, getting myself involved in things that I had no experience in, and learning those hustles to get me to where I am today. So, as a student, as a blush, I think it's great that you experimenting, you testing out as many things as possible to find out what really is worked for you. That's why I think I mentioned that context really is important, really matters. That does become different from somebody who's in their 40s, 50s, who've had a full corporate career, who well and want to start another business. Maybe starting something that they have expertise, networks in, experience in, all those pieces that they not fully able to express themselves in their current corporate role. Because the reality is, corporate roles have a distinct function, have a distinct delivery, but
Mhm.
you might not be able to fully express yourself through that. And maybe a hustle is a way to do it as well.
Yeah, I quite agree with that because sometimes you are doing a corporate job because it's a means to an end, it's a requirement, you need to pay bills, and you can't really s- speak your truth, have the conviction that you have, and be fully immersive in how you would normally show up if it was your slash. You're not using your reframe. So I'm going to
Okay,
say
I'm going to
your
go back
slash.
to it. The slash. But
There's,
yeah.
there's another comment here. There's some comments that are just too large to put on the screen. Otherwise, it takes away both Alan and myself. We don't mind that. But I'm going to read below his other comment. I have a program that I am part of called STEP program, which helps me understand myself better. And at campus, I have different role models that I engage with. But within the field of commercial modeling, I don't have any particular mentors. In that space, I am navigating more on my own. But in other areas of life, like leadership, soccer, personal development, I do through my school and programs I'm involved with. Thank you for sharing that
Mm,
with us, because this journey doesn't have to be alone. We often think it needs to be alone. There are communities, there are great mentorship programs and platforms like Connect2Grow. And no, I'm not selling. I am part of that program, and so is Alan, and we serve in that community very openly and freely because we see the impact that it has
mm,
and the enrichment it has that is reciprocal for both mentor. I'm
mm.
not going to call it mentee, coaching. I call it a mentor partner or a coaching partner, because I feel like mentee is
Yeah.
almost like beneath, below the person.
Mhm.
It's a shared, reciprocal value exchange between two individuals. So, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing a little bit of your story, Alan, and your journey and how that transition is not as easy. Let's move on. I mean, we're almost at 1 o'clock. Where's the time going? So the time's
It is.
moving swiftly, and we haven't even scratched the surface. But I want to ask for anyone that may have had a side hustle that you had to let go of, it wasn't working. Do share with us some of those examples. And again, don't see this as a failure. I see everything as a lesson. My coach trainer always calls it fail stands for all I learn. So, what did you let go of in that side hustle? And what did you learn about that experience and about yourself in particular? And then, Alan, over to you. Have you had any side hustles you've had to let go of?
I've had several side hustles, several slashes that I've had to let go of and move on. I think yeah, fail. You need to embrace fail. It's one of the core pieces I live by now. It's yeah. I think it's similar to you. The acronym is that I use is first attempt in learning, and you need to fail in order to learn. I've had um, yeah, successes at businesses, but I've also had several failures in business as well. I think I've yeah, and that was you're hustling. So sometimes you hustle, you're successful. Sometimes you hustle, you're not successful in those pieces there. And but the failures are where I've gotten my biggest lessons. It's what's made me shift the processes, shift the way I do things, shift the strategies. A lot of the today's successes that I can see have come from a failure touch point. So it's some big failure that's happened in my life, or in that. And I've seen that with. So I always say to the people I work with, when you're partnering with them, look out for the failures, because if you're looking for it, it's you see what you set your mind to. So if you're looking for the gifts in it, you're going to find the gifts in the failures. If you're looking for the negative side of the failure, you're going to see that. So it's how you frame your mind, how you shape your mind to see that. That's also going to drive what you take out from it. So
And
yeah.
on that point, I think for me it's about remaining curious and being what is referred to as a fascinated anthropologist, where you're gathering data. And so the
Mm,
failure is when you're gathering the data, and the data
mm,
is just there to be a catalyst for you to just enhance it. Sometimes we don't know how to gather that data by ourselves. Sometimes we need somebody to be the mirror reflecting
mm.
back to us. So that's really what I feel is very powerful in an exchange of whether it's a mentor or coaching partnership or
Yeah.
consultative partnership,
Yes.
But what's coming up for you in terms of advice that you would give to someone that's looking to start a side hustle? Wait, a slash. I'm going to try and use this reframe because I quite love it.
Yeah. Starting a slash is I think again, the question came up: when is it the right time to start a slash? When you're starting to think about when it's when you're thinking about it already, that's when you need to start. Okay,
Mhm.
there's a long process before you cut over and transition into um, working on the slash. Okay, and so if you think about it, put intentional thought behind it. Put what is it that you want to Why do you want to be doing it? What do you want to be getting out of it? So it's you need to. It's there's no time in the present to do it, and it's just getting ahead and going for it. Okay.
Mm. Are you there? Or is it my
Yes, I
side?
am.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
I'm just kidding. Will you? Sorry, I've just lost my train of thought there. I've just been reading some of these comments there. Can you get me back on the
Ignore the
course?
comments. Stay with your train of thought. I think it was around when's the time to start. And if I'm a good listener, I heard you say no time is the present. Start
Yeah.
immediately, because if there's some
So,
inclination or desire, you've got to start it immediately.
and what you probably and coming back to the fail piece there, if you look at any entrepreneurs, any design pieces there, you're going to have to iterate. You're going to in the natural process of design, you're going to have to fail. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's about how do you start it now, and failing fast, failing often, failing repeatedly allows you, because failure isn't the opposite of success, it's steps
Mm.
towards success. So you
Mm.
will have failures, you will have challenges that you're going through. The quicker you get through those, uh, the quicker you're going to get to your outcome, your pieces there. It's about resilience, it's about bouncing back, it's about so when do you start? The quicker you start, the quicker you're going to get there. If you're intentional about it, and you know what your outcome is, and you're heading, and you've got your SMART goals, and you're able to measure it and see, are you heading in that direction of your outcome? Then you know whether your the slash is working or not. And one of the best things also is to know when to actually stop your, cancel the slash, or call it a failure, or call it a piece there. I think one that's not just in the slashes, but in life, I think that's one of the things we don't intentionally do. When something's not working, we don't kill it off, including myself. I've had instances where you want to keep doing something, but um, that's when a mentor helps. That's when a coach helps. That's when you can bounce it off with them, because they can bring an objective view in for you, bring you back to reality, and say, this is not the costs behind this, and the rewards that you're gaining from it. It's not aligned to your legacy. It's not taking you to where you want to be. Let it go. Um, and I think,
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
Aneesa, I think we've all got our own mentors, we've all got our own coaches as well that we use, that we should be using, and that's what we use them for, to really sometimes bounce back to them and say, just sit me down, tell me the truth. What should I be hearing right now? Yeah.
Yeah,
So start
I
now.
want to come. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
go for
let's
it.
come back to Winston's comment here. This is something we underestimate as well. When it's what you want to do, drive is intrinsic, because there's some things that is intrinsically motivated and others are extrinsically motivated. If it's extrinsic, in my view and my personal experience, that's driven by what the outside world wants of us and what we think we need to show up as and how we need to deliver and serve, etc. But when it's intrinsically motivated, it comes back to purpose, values, our North Star, that we will feel inspired to take action, regardless of how pressurizing it may appear to be. And then there's another large comment that I can't put on but it's from Bill. Bill Stanky Weeks is all the way from the States, one of my connections. He says, great job here, Tanya and Aneesa. Can't stay long because on my way to class this morning. Okay, he's just complimenting us. Best regards from him. And thank you for that, Bill. And thank you for joining us, albeit briefly. Asha says, yes, failure is a path to greater success, personal and professional. We couldn't agree more with that. And then there was a question which I don't want to ignore from our amazing multidimensional student. What is the key to balance with slashes? That is a good question.
The key is to really know what your capacity is, what your abilities is. The key also is slashes don't all have to be done at this moment. So one of the key things there is phasing helps.
Mhm.
What can you do now? What should be done now? What can be done in 6 months' time? What can be done in a year's time? Um, we've all got ideas. We've all got creative pieces going there that I could do this, I could do that, but then you need to bring it back down to what is my capacity? What are the resources I have? Am I ready for that right now? Sometimes it's um, waiting out there and saying, I don't have enough of a network yet, or I haven't done enough research yet. So maybe this is something I need to go and do that piece of it and delay the actual kickoff of that slash. So how do you balance it out? It's really about being real to yourself. What is it that you're able to achieve? What is the stepping stone that you need to put in place for yourself now to get you to your next level, to get you towards your legacy? Okay, so balance is really important. Besides this, you need to live as a human. You need to have the family life. You need to have the friends, all those pieces there. Um, the slashes needs to be incorporated into those pieces. It shouldn't just be work, work, work. But if you incorporate all of those into it, and a lot of people are able to do that as well. A lot of people are able to get themselves into working online, traveling while they're doing working. Um, you know, how do you balance also? If I think back to some of my other clients that have done how they balance it, they've got a full-time corporate job, quite a senior jobs in those pieces there, but the slashes that they have on the side there, and they're running another 2 or 3 businesses on the side, but those businesses are fully resourced, they're fully capacitated, they've got their own leadership team there that runs it. So that's how you get your balance in. You get the right resources in place to do what you want to get done. Okay? And if you don't have that in place, then you should look at it and say, is this the right time, or maybe I shouldn't be doing it at all.
Yeah, it's quite valid there. It's not by no means easy to have many slashes, but I'm going to come back to, if you know why you've started it, if you know what the success story looks like, if you know what the impact is that you want to leave and the legacy that you're cultivating, it's almost easier to go and rather focus on what are the things that I should not be doing. So, should I get off Netflix as an example? Stop
Mm.
watching seasons or series? Or should I stop doom scrolling? Because we
Yes.
always saying we don't have the time or the capacity, or we feel stretched amidst all of the responsibilities within our slashes. We really
Mm.
love to do it, but it is seriously, feeling heavy. I would then say discern with what's happening within your time,
Mm.
because it is possible. I have this, for me, is a passion project. Having these conversations is a passion project. It's can be regarded as one of my slashes. Yes, it's important to me. Why? Because we're having raw, authentic conversations. And why do I want to do it? Because I want to bring people back to their truth. So your intentions of why you're doing it could be very different. I have another lady that was on a different segment yesterday that has many charities, so
Mm.
that charity, she's not earning any monetary reward from it, but nonetheless, she's doing it because she's wanting to cultivate something that is a legacy and help and
Mm.
serve and pay it forward. So we have
Mm.
to be very clear on, if we want to have these slashes, what does it all look like and what does it all mean? And I want to almost put back the graph again to
Mm.
say,
Mm.
come back and remember what is the context,
Mm.
what is that impact, because this is quite valid for us to keep in mind. How- Just
Mm.
this is almost your barometer, your dipstick
Mm.
of that questions that's been asked and some of the comments that has been made. Once you understand the current reality, you'll understand what the aspiration and the vision is. And I mean, as you've said, you then can look at strategy on what needs to
Mm.
be taken forward. There's the exit strategy that we haven't even touched on, but I'd love to come back to that later. I see there's a little bit more comments. There's a LinkedIn user that says, great point, but we're not sure why it's saying LinkedIn user. Maybe let us know who that is. Winston, slashes are the quintessential growth mindset. Oh,
Mm.
love that.
Mm. Mm.
Yes,
I like that
because
statement actually. Mm.
yeah, I think you need to coin that, you need to put it in a quote somewhere. We need to somewhat have that somewhere on a t-shirt, branded.
Yeah,
But I think it's brilliant.
yeah.
What are your
But
thoughts? I mean,
essentially,
yeah,
well, going on the growth mindset, it's you need to be open to new experiences. You need to be open to it's there's no limitations. There's no in it's just keep exploring, keep growing, keep pushing yourself, keep expressing yourself of more of who you are. If it's not possible today, it can be possible tomorrow. If you don't think like that, you can't grow. So I think that's it sums it up very nicely in that one comment. Yeah,
yeah. I'm not laughing
definitely.
at you, Alan, but Winston's got a laugh out loud here. No, we're being serious. That was a really powerful
No,
one. So
yes, it
do
was.
consider putting it into a quote there and coining it, get it yours. Asha says
Yeah,
about to post, the wonderful things in life are what we do, not things we have.
yeah, experiences, and I,
Experiences.
I think leading up to that also, it's what we do. I think importantly enough, along the same thread, but not exactly the same, is we tend to, in the modern day, think value everything in a monetary term. Um, you
Mm,
know, if I'm doing this, what's the monetary benefit back from it? Pulling it back into the balance piece, we need to be looking for things that, so from a holistic view of our legacy, well, how much money
yeah.
do I need? How much fulfillment do I need? How much, um, and just a balance of living and those pieces there. What things do I do for monetary gain or financial gains? What I
Mm,
do to give back to social gains or just again fulfillment gains to where you self fulfilled and doing those pieces there. Um,
mm,
there's too much emphasis nowadays, and I've seen it with the well start when I start with a lot of my clients sometimes is that if this is not making money, we don't do it. It's flipping out on the side sometimes and saying if you don't do what you should do and meant to do, you might not make money from it.
oh
Yeah.
man. How many people are, they always say that what's that statement? Somebody says that the graveyard is sitting with the most expensive or most
Mm,
unlived dreams, and the
mm,
knowledge and the wisdom, because those are the people that may not have pursued their slashes. And
yeah.
so don't underestimate the importance of going to pursue it and experiencing it and living life in the present moment and not feeling like what's going to happen in the future. Sometimes
Mm,
it's just living in that moment, in the magic of knowing what that slashes is going to bring to you and everyone around you and what you're building with that. So we're on 1:15. We have a special guest coming in at 1:30. I wanna go into just maybe one or two more things before our guest arrives and before we get to a closure. This has been a game changer for me. I don't know about you, but mentorship has always been a game changer for me. But
mm,
having the right people in your corner, really, that's what makes all the difference. What's a
mm.
time when mentorship for you made a massive impact, both in your career and in your slashes?
Linking it back to Balosh's comment again, also back when he mentioned he's got a mentor for, I think, for his sports and for class and for school and for those. Um, you're never going to get one person who's exactly like you, and it shouldn't be. Okay, but what you should do is seek out multiple mentors, multiple, 4 or 5 or 6 mentors that are able to, maybe it's not the right word, but it's a word that's coming to mind. Be an expert in that field, in that vertical of your life, and tap on them for that mentorship, for their experience, for those pieces there. Um, it's the right time to get mentorship. I found that mentorship is not always a formal journey. It's a informal journey where you are, if you're looking out for it, you will start finding people along your way that can be trusted people that you can go and speak to and bounce ideas off, and um, have crazy conversations about there, where they won't see them as crazy conversations. Um, do those things there, and it's important to, so it, having the right people in your corner, it's not the right person, it's the right people, right? Team of people in there. And again, the team of people changes through your life stages, through the context of your life. And when you're a student, it's different mentors. When you're starting off in your career, it's different mentors. When you are going up to senior management, executive management, it's different mentors. Changing jobs, shifting out to something totally new is a different set of mentors. Mentors or coaches. I think mentors from experience, coaches will help you have those conversations, even if they're not experienced in that space.
Yeah, I just want to differentiate between the role of mentor versus coaches as well, and advisors. They all, and therapists, because what I find in my line of work is that I have these different roles that I play. I'm one
Hats.
minute I'm a mentor, and the next minute I'll be the coach, and the next minute I'll be the advisor. Mentorship is really somebody that has walked a journey, has got that lived experience, and that can truly share that magic of their journey for you, maybe to potentially not to make the same mistakes, but again, mistakes is lessons, so I don't think there's merit in saying not make mistakes. But I think mentorship has evolved somewhat, especially in our platform, in our environment. It's a two-way enrichment, and there's a top-down, bottom-up partnership that happens. That's very different to traditional mentorship. That I am the one that's the wise sage and know all the answers. That is disempowering, to say the least. I think there's a sweet spot between I'm transferring skills and knowledge and experience, and let me unpack with you, that is my mentoring partner, on your journey towards your slashes. What are your thoughts? What is it? Let's unpack the wisdom that comes from you, rather, and let's build on that. There's a misnomer around that the mentor's just got to have all the answers. So yeah, there's a couple of comments streaming in here. Oh my gosh. All right. So informal mentors are great. They have no pressure and are creative in their thoughts and advice. Couldn't agree more. Angelo says, giving back quietly brings a deep, unspoken fulfillment that shifts your mindset. When you serve without seeking applause, your intention becomes clear, your attitude more genuine, and your approach to paying customers naturally transforms into something effortless and sincere. I think that's alluding to having that purpose, growth mindsets, servitude, paying it forward, being of service. Then we've got Bloch saying, so true on that part, that it's not always formal mentorship, but it can just be a relationship and synergy where you both grow and understand each other. It's not meant to be transactional. That is why I use the word partnership. And even within our client environments or our business environments, let's not underestimate that it's a partnership. Tabang says, spot on. Thank you, Tabang, for being here with us today. Oh my gosh, it's going
That's fun.
crazy here. Let's see if I can just add another one. The graveyard is the richest place. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I think I know who the LinkedIn user might be. Let's see if I go onto LinkedIn, if it comes up, because it's not coming up on StreamYard for some reason. Okay, we can't see that yet. But with regards to mentorship, how do you change the mindset that holds you back because you feel you did not do what you last communicated with your mentor? That perfectionist mindset can be detrimental. Mata, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Thank you for adding your name in there. I appreciate that. And then we've got again, Angelo, it accelerates growth, builds confidence, and shortens the learning curve by providing real world insights, support, and accountability. A good mentor helps navigate challenges, avoid costly mistakes. I almost want to add in there and also reminds you of your value and your worth and what you deserve so that you don't sell yourself short in these slashes and stay focused on your vision, ultimately increasing the chances of long-term success and resilience in business. And then we've got mentorship is
Mm,
from the inside out. Oh my gosh. Short, succinct, but quite powerful.
yeah, yeah. Again, that is powerful. It is. It's a
Mm,
reminder that what you said there. The wealth of knowledge I've gained from being a mentor or being a coach is learning from the partnerships that I've engaged with the mentor partner, coach partner. Um, it's 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 exactly that. If you are not curious, if you're not curious, if you're not willing to learn, if you're not, you have to be fallible. You have to say, I don't. At points, yeah, I might not be right. I don't know. Um, it's and that is something as a mentor or a coach that you have to do, where you are humble enough to accept that you don't know, and only then can you actually have those conversations. Most of the conversations that I have in the partnerships is through genuine curiosity to say, what are your thoughts? What do you know? Or what's your ideas?
mm,
And those pieces there that get them to the answers they need. But it's not
yeah,
necessarily something that and as a coach, you should not have any agenda. You should not have any preconceived
fast,
thoughts
fast.
on those pieces there. And but that's genuinely when the best answers come. So from the inside out, and yeah, so spot on there.
So I've got a call to action here for those that are listening. Let's celebrate those who have mentored or helped you in your slash. You see, I'm so grateful that you are using partners or partnership, and I am starting to embrace the word slashes. So let's
Yeah,
embrace those and give them a shout out in the comments, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube watching us from there. Let us know who that person is. Tag them in the comments. I am just interested to see who they are. I'd love to connect with them if they're willing to connect with me and Alan. And certainly do connect with us on our platform because if you've been a wonderful mentor, that side, we would certainly want you to be part of our community. I see that Dale has joined us. Is there anything you want to close off before we bring in a different energy and conversation to the platform today?
so closing off just the summary of those pieces. Get going with your slashes. If you're thinking about it, um, move on with it. Okay, and it's going to go in two directions. One is that you're going to be successful in it, or second thing is going to fail on it. And both in from my perspective are successes. So just get on with it. Yeah.
Take the action. So Dale is here, but we only meant to have him at past. So while we're waiting for him, we're not going to put pressure on him. I mean, what are you thinking about this conversation at this point in time? I mean, this has been an awesome conversation for me. Lots of insights. Love the engagement. Thank you for those that are engaging with us near and far. Thank you for my regulars on some of my other segments that are here today. I appreciate your support. But knowledge without action, I suppose, is just entertainment, right? So I'm going to put it up there. Before we go out of this part of the conversation, I want to hear from you also in our audience, and I want this call to action. One action that you'll take this week to move your hustle or your slash forward. Let's put it out into the universe, right? So just before Dale came on or was coming on, I think Alan was saying, just do it, get it done, take action. So tell us what's the one action. So you've got two things to do for us today. Who are those great mentors? Tag them for us. And the one action, because your one action may inspire the next person that's listening to this conversation today. So most certainly, please let us know what they are so that we can also learn and enrich ourselves from that. So Dale Miller is here. He's in the house. And we're so grateful for you that you are giving time.
Adele.
Dale has had a beautiful partnership with both myself and with Alan. Dale has been on a program with us through the De Beers Marine, through Seaber Ignition Academy's Enterprise Supply Development Program, but equally had a partnership with Alan on the Connect2Grow mentorship platform. And what a beautiful symbiotic relationship it's been. There is also a case study that my colleague Tanya has written about this partnership, which is really around the evidence on what this partnership has translated into for both the enrichment of Alan as well as Dale. So welcome, Dale. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Aneesa. Hi, Alan. Good to be here.
All right.
So,
Dale, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your...
Yeah, kick off with just at least introducing yourself.
Yeah,
and
okay. So, look, I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, and I sort of took over my dad's engineering business. This year we celebrated being 41 years old, so it's been a long journey. Not always easy, but this is sort of my main gig, if you want to call it that. And I've always just had probably ADD and wanting to dabble in too many other things. So an ex-university lecturer of mine, he basically said, or he wanted me to do a study on grapeseed oil for him, just on sort of setting up an industry in South Africa. And I did the study, and then that just stuck in my mind. And being a mechanical engineer, I decided to try and replicate or reverse engineer machinery for it, and then set up a plant. And I went the whole way, got funding for it, and at the end of the day, the funder sort of pulled the plug. But during that time, I sort of created a platform for sort of buying and studying, if you want to call it conventional natural oil, sort of organic and conventional. So anything from grapeseed oil to marula oil to Semenya, roseleaf, all these exotic African oils. So I had this platform, and my sort of side hustle actually fell through because I never got this sort of plant off the ground. But then people started seeing the site and looking for these oils, and I sort of just connected the dots. So it's been a long time, but now, I mean, this side hustle has grown so crazy. I mean, it's like we almost turning the same amount as my main gig, and it's really just been a desktop job. And I think the main thing was not having to spend too much time on it. Yeah, that's sort of where I've developed in a nutshell.
I think, Dale, what you've spoken about there is previously what we're saying there is that it's unless you start and unless you explore, you're not gonna know. So reverse engineering, having to go into the oil side there, having a sponsor, having a potential customer and run with those pieces there, but that fell through. And through the failure piece, we've spoken about that. We've spoken about failing before. Is that because you went down that route and you failed, you actually found that there is a bigger market for it, that there is a bigger business to establish. And like you said, it's no longer a side hustle, and And what we were speaking about earlier is that it shouldn't be side hustles. It should just be a extension of yourself. And exactly that. And like you said, like, you've grown the two businesses to be able to equally contribute now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so well done on that.
It's been quite eye-opening, if you want to call it that. Just kind of just always say, just don't put the lights off and just keep it running in the background. It went quiet for a long time, and then I sort of put much more energy into it, and it helps having sort of a team here that can run the main gig and giving me a bit more free time to mess around with the side hustles and developing other products or what, and just sort of playing with these ideas that's all in my head.
Dale, you know what? We have to let you in on the reframe that Alan said he wants to call side hustles. So he was saying he doesn't quite want to call it that anymore because it shouldn't be a side hustle. And one of the earlier stories, we're not going to get into the story again, but from that story, what he said is that they're calling it slashes, multiple slashes. So on the
Yeah.
note of multiple slashes, running two businesses, do you consider it either as a slash? And how do you manage to run your slash or manage these two businesses today? You've tapped into some of that already, but talk to us about not just the operational side and the logistical stuff, but from a mental, holistic well-being perspective, how do you manage doing it all with across these two slashes?
Yeah, I think people's probably the most important thing, people and technology. So I got a great team in my sort of main gig. I can sort of disappear for, if I go to sort of expos overseas, like for 10, 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks at a time. And the ship runs. I come in when I need to, but I'm always around, sort of don't go away. The world got quite small with internet and working remotely. So having that great team and also a good business partner with a side hustle just makes things easy and fun. And time is the most important thing or valuable resource you got besides the people. So it's connecting the dots, making those three things work: time, people, and technology. That's what works for me.
Yeah, I think yeah. It's nice that you've been able to get away from the one business and move into the second one, and then when that one gets busy or quiet, you can switch back to the other one. But it's really making sure that you've got all the resources and the network around you, which you've created. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's also patience. You just have to be patient with things not happening overnight. And I mean, the side hustle's coming from, gosh, 2015 already, and it's only really taken off the last 3 years. So yeah, it's just being patient, and it will come. You just need to keep spending time on it.
Was there active switch to how it kicked off the oil business piece, or was it just something that was slow brewed into business?
Well, it was very slow brewed after I never got that funding. So I just had this website connecting buyers and producers. I kind of figured out everybody in the southern hemisphere what they're producing, and then it's just finding the buyers. But what really kick-started it or sparked it off again was when I got another partner involved 3 years ago. So that sort of symbiotic relationship helped me to push forward, and he's come with his own ideas. So yeah, people's good, and that was the sort of game changer for me.
Yeah, I want to come back to your partnership with Alan, right? Because
Yeah.
what clarity and focus did the mentoring help you to achieve that you're able to translate today back into your slashes, both your slashes?
Okay, so with Alan, yeah, it's been great, but we really just focused on the main gig or the main slash. I don't even know what slash means, but yeah. So at the time when I started seeing Alan, we were very much in a slump and not doing that trade. So looking for new ideas, that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's like you just need somebody to look at your business from the outside and point out that the things that you're thinking about actually will make sense and pointing out new ideas. You just sometimes you get caught just in the rut if you don't see the opportunities that's looking you in the face. And that was inspiring, coming up with new ideas, where we could market, what we lack in, sort of just general, almost stuff that you should know of, but you don't do because you just get caught in the moment life just catches up with you. So you just pause and you move on to the next thing. You do the easy stuff, not the hard stuff. So yeah, and then also Alan's quite a practical guy because yeah, I think it was 2 sessions, 3 sessions ago where the cash flow just really dipped because it was what I call good cash flow problems. Is when you're really busy, but the money's not just coming in quick enough because just of the situation. But and then he just gave me also practical ideas like just try and get some more overdraft with your bank or speak to your good customers and ask them for extended credit and it's just simple stuff like that. Like you think, will that work or will they even give me another month to pay? And it's just
Yeah.
practical stuff like that. You and then the bank came back and said, yeah, your numbers are looking better. Here's an extra 300,000 rand. So it just frees up cash.
It's interesting though, like it's a simple thing. And I mean, I just want to acknowledge you, Alan, for holding up that mirror to Dale and to many other businesses and companies and people that you serve, Alan, because that is the role. We're holding up the mirror. We're simply saying, look from the outside in, have a bit of an overview effect. And because we are so stuck in working inside the business and get bogged down, we can't really have this different perspective. But coming back to the bank, and I mean, you and I have had conversations around the relationship with money. And so, if your relationship with money or to money is that of lack and scarcity, you're never going to think about the idea of credit and a facility being an enabler to that. So, sometimes a mentor is there to say, but hold on, this is a no brainer. If your numbers are speaking to it, go ahead and do it. So, this is one of the critical issues that most entrepreneurs, businesses, small medium enterprises, whether they're large companies or smaller companies, or students that are starting out that don't know how to go and apply for money or don't see that they are actually worthy enough of getting that loan. That's something I would also encourage. Go and look at what is your relationship to money, and are you seeing money is the root to all evil, or is it an enabler and a possibility to get you to the next level of your gig? I'm going to use your word today now again. You see, I'm listening, Dale. So to make sure that that gig gets to the next level, take the money because it's going to move you forward.
Yeah, cash is king. If you don't have it, you need money to make money. So that's the name of the game, and it's kind of that's why it's always tough to start and to get the ball rolling because you need a bit of cash. And I was fortunate enough to be able to juggle money around to do this extra sort of side hustle. And yeah, it can't be easy for everybody that just doesn't have the
Agreed.
cash. So if you can get credit, take the credit. You just need to
Responsibly.
know that
Responsibly.
Good
you need to
credit.
know what for, and you must be confident that you can get that money paid back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we have 20 minutes remaining, and I hope that you can still give us more time, Dale. I mean, what advice would you give to someone that is seeking out a mentor now having had the privilege of a mentor partnership?
Well, just call Alan.
Thanks for
Well,
that.
before the segment, Alan's advice was you need to have multiple mentors across the different gigs or slashes you may be having in your life. So, other than seeking out Alan, what has been the biggest driver for you, and what would you say is important? Or were you even aware? I mean, here's my next question to you. Did you even think that you needed a mentor before you started this mentor journey with Alan?
Yeah, 100% that. I mean, it wasn't something we sort of
Mm.
small business, medium businesses. We don't. It's kind of like a corporate gig. Nobody worries with mentors and stuff. We
Mm.
just get stuck in a rut and sort of push forward. But yeah, it's so refreshing to have that outside eye in, and yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was just so refreshing because you've seen or somebody else is pointing out ideas for you, which is actually staring you in the face, and you just don't see it.
And that's what we said earlier on. The coach does not give, is not directive. So our partnership wasn't as easy as Alan's one was because Aneesa didn't give Dale all the answers. Aneesa wanted to get it out of him. But what you also missed earlier on is that the mentorship partnership is not only of giving all the answers, it is actually to unlock it from you that already have this wisdom deeply embedded somewhere because you have a passion, you have a purpose, you want to cultivate some form of a legacy. So, how dare myself and Alan think that we have all the answers, whether we're in the mentor or the coach partnership or the role of those relationships? I just want to reiterate that we must be mindful that we don't have all the answers. And sometimes the person in front of us has got all the wisdom and the gems within them. It's asking the right questions, I feel, and just being okay with silence. What are your thoughts on that, Alan?
So Dale, did I throw out some difficult questions with you to get you thinking?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's some of it wasn't fun at the time, and it was like, why are you asking me this? Sometimes you don't want the question in the first place. But it's realizing the question that needs to be answered. Those burning questions, it's like, why are you not doing this? Or, it's like, you must do it. Just do it.
Mm,
And yeah,
yeah,
it's simple stuff that you don't want to hear. And
Mm-hmm.
like human nature to just turn a blind eye.
yeah. So it's not that we know all the answers from our side. It's our job is mental coach, and that is really to unlock the answers from within you already. You
Mm-hmm.
know it. It's there. Um, I guess sometimes the fun part from our side, I'm going to share it now, Dell, is to ask you the difficult questions and sit back.
Yeah. I could see it was fun for you when you were asking that. You were smiling asking the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I was smiling because I could see the wisdom coming out of you. It was.
What's a
I'll
better
stop
part?
there. Yeah.
Like, what
Okay.
stood out for you, Dale? I mean, what stood out for you? Were there times that you were swearing quietly in your mind and at Alan and thinking,
It
what
wasn't
the?
that bad. No, no, it wasn't that bad. But it's like, and also the repetition is like the same questions come up. What do you do about it? So it's kind of holding you accountable in a way. Like you said you're going to do this. Why haven't you done it? Just do it.
Ah,
Yeah, and that's
that's the beauty.
yeah,
You've just hit the nail. You see, he's got the wisdom. You have the wisdom because you've just highlighted that this is an accountability partnership.
Mm.
Let's
yeah,
take away all the other labels. That's exactly what it is. How do we hold one another accountable to make it or take inspired action to deliver on what we said we wanted to do? And I mean, a lot of what you're doing in your gigs or slashes or politically correct side hustles is always connected to something that you want to build that's meaningful and sometimes beyond ourselves meaningful. Like you weren't on the call earlier. I have a lady that's got multiple charities that's her gigs, and there's a meaning to behind it because for her, she doesn't want to let anyone be left behind. For her, she wants to let others feel like they have an opportunity. There is other prospects for them than what they are born into within their environments. And I think that's quite noble, right? And often the money factor comes into play, especially in a charitable environment. What is somebody else saying? Yeah, let's see. We've got Tandi saying, great work you do, A. Thank you so much, Tandi. Tandi is also saying, oh gosh, now I'm taking that off now. Thank you for the vote of confidence, but we're here because we want to talk about Dale and the mentor. But I do, Tandi, thank you for your acknowledgement. It's appreciated. Again, it's a how do we hold up this mirror to our partners in this journey of growing new businesses or growing, cultivating new opportunities. And I want to come to students. You mentioned when you were a student, Dale,
Yeah.
your professor said something. I mean, that was a form of mentoring in some shape or form.
Yeah, so
What
it was
impact
like
did that have?
I was out of varsity already, so I was working, but
Mhm.
always wanting to dabble in something else. And then I sort of kept in contact with him, and he worked for Department of Science and Technology, and he had a study of grapeseed oil done by Australia, and he said, look at this, and it's quite cool. And it's just taking an opportunity that's thrown at you. You don't come up with businesses out of your head. You sort of don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's just making a buyer find a seller. So that's just all that it is. And well,
Mm.
to some degree.
So the reason why we're talking students, because we have a student that's participating quite actively here, many more, I think, not just the one. But he was saying that he has different mentors. He does some modeling and some promotional work on the side, and that sort of doesn't have a mentor. But I think the departure point and what you were just sharing with us is remain in touch with your mentors. And then I think there's somebody that also used the term, I think it's Johnson and I, reverse mentoring. You never know when reverse mentoring will even be possible in the time that you might go back to that relationship again, Dale, with your professor, and where you are in your life stage of your business, you could be paying it forward to your professor again in whatever context or construct that might take shape in. So, departure point for Dale on that would be stay in touch with your mentors. It's a relationship that is supposed to stand the test of time because there's just so much value to gain from it. You start to get to know the person intimately, not just for the side hustle or the business that they're running, because you're getting to know who they are, what is, what makes them tick or what makes them triggered. And I think it's important to just remain in that space and hold that sacred space for one another in the future. What does Baloch say? I feel like I won the lotto with the knowledge and mindset I've been gaining from this conversation. That's very generous of you. And we have also gained from you in terms of
Yeah.
your ability to just make it happen and show up here and engage and be courageous and have this conversation with us. So you making the segment even better alongside with us. So thank you for being here. Alan, over to you. Any more insights or experiences or moments in that partnership with Dale that you want to reflect on in this conversation?
Um, I think one of the things that you said and Dell, I'm saying to you is I don't see so yes, there is a scheduled engagement of time, but mentorship, coaching, I've continued relationships, well over 3, 4, 5 years since I started with them. They're not always the necessary scheduled events and those pieces, but I do like to stay in touch. And if they run into problems, I am a phone call away. And sometimes, old partnerships and that, and on these pieces there, they come back to me, and so I think important to say, yes, it is something I need to do to pay my bills and those pieces there, but more importantly, it's building up a relationship and continuing those pieces there. I think with mentorships, it's important to do that. And thinking back, I've got some mentors that I go back to that I've had years back, and when I need something, I give them a shot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So Dell, hope to hear from you still. In we haven't finished our journey yet, but
Yeah.
when it happens, I'm looking forward to hearing from you again. What else from that? Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Dale, any last departure points from you before you go, before we let you go? Because I know that you are a very busy man with several gigs. Any last departure points you want to leave us in terms of your experience overall in programs, in mentorship, anything in running businesses, running family businesses, anything at all?
Um, yeah, just embrace every opportunity and use whatever resources you have. With people you know, the cash you can get your hands on, technology. Technology is great. I mean, I just looked at the numbers last year. We got 30% of our main gigs through the internet. We're knowing these people from not a bar or stuff, and they come to us and they invest large amounts of money in for us to build their product. And technology is there. I've redesigned the whole website using ChatGPT. It's free software out there that really benefits us.
So last thing I'm going to ask you as a call to action for yourself, but where can people find you, Dale? And then the call to action is, are you willing to pay it forward and also mentor now that you've got your own experience of being mentored? And are you willing to pay that forward? And if yes, you know where to find us on the Connect2Grow platform or anywhere else that you see maybe not as formal as Connect2Grow, but to build that community.
Look,
What's next?
I don't think I'm sort of got the knowledge to be a mentor. I mean, I can just
Oh,
because of my own experience. So we're not getting ahead of myself.
Are
Alan,
you happy, Dale? Are you happy enough to reach out as a specialist when we've got somebody who needs 30
Yeah.
minutes of your specialized time?
No, not all. Anytime.
okay, we won't put any more pressure on you, Dale, but
Yeah.
we do know you've got lots of knowledge and wisdom to share, and we may very well call on you at some time in the future. Thank you for being here, Dale. We appreciate your
Good guys.
time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Dale. Cheers.
So on the point of paying it forward and doing the whole reciprocal exchange, I think it's very important for us to be mindful of the value of mentorship, the value of helping show up that mirror to others on their journey in whatever form that journey takes shape in. From your side, I mean, have you been mentored and been a mentor? You've said earlier on. What is the next step for you, Alan, in this journey? What is something that you want to build that's different potentially, but it's going to support mentorship and guiding and impacting?
So there is something I'm working on with sharing more knowledge and putting it out there and more from a pre-founder gap of the market of before people start building their businesses. I think a lot of people jump into things without the knowledge, and part of that knowledge is not that it's not accessible, it's not available. So it's making some of that or making that knowledge more known to, so easier to access. So working on that on those pieces there. So yeah, that's what I'm working on a lot. I will still be continuing doing what I'm doing now, supporting entrepreneurs through the different stages through there. So that's me for now.
So to clarify, that's almost like a master class where there's a knowledge base of your wisdom that will be reflected, or a repository of your wisdom that will be housed there.
Yeah, masterclass and looking to build it into a program as well. Look out for it. We working on something in the next 3 to 6 months that will be around. So definitely something in the pipelines on my side.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to that. And I mean, just so you know that whilst the Connect2Grow platform is a mentorship exchange, there's a lot of knowledge and resources that are available on the platform as well.
Mm.
So similarly to if you're going to access ChatGPT, there are very specific segmented type of information that you can search on the platform should you be interested to join us in that community. Ashif says, for self and with others, be more transformative, be less transactional. Yes, yes, yes to that. So now that we're nearing the very end, and for those that have stayed with us, oh my gosh, if you got value from this chat, please do share it with someone else who needs it. We often find that the replays are also watched quite a bit. Please send the replay to whoever you think would find value in it. And if you want to go deeper and connect more meaningfully to somebody that can help you alongside your journey, please reach out to us on the Connect2Grow platform. What I will do is I'll add it on the LinkedIn post where the original event was set up, and I'll add some links for you to be able to access so that you can join our community. And really that's the closing point from my side is how you can access that is we are building a space where this mentorship community and real strategies come together to help you level up across your gigs, side hustles, slashes, whatever you want to frame it as. It doesn't actually matter. But as long as it's purposeful, aligned, and you are living your truth and your North Star, please don't hesitate to reach out to us to see how we can help. We have somebody by the name of Dizzy Muffin. I'm intrigued. Dizzy Muffin says, this has been amazing. I want to know what specifically did you find amazing? I have not seen any tags from anyone on who you've mentored. You still have time to do that, even if you're not going to be in the live segment. Don't hesitate to go and tag it in the LinkedIn event post where you are placing your comments that I am showcasing right now. I can see Dizzy Muffin is probably on YouTube and not on LinkedIn. So thanks for being there. Any final last gems that you would like to leave us with, Alan? And then I would like to just thank you from my side once you have had that last word.
No, just great thanks for having this conversation and being able to discuss this topic. I think it's great in the platform, the space that people are scared to start off their first /gig side hustle. Once you've gone through it a couple of times, it does get easier. So push through to get those 3-4 ones done, and they don't have to. Each slash doesn't have to be something astronomically huge and big. It could be something small that you get. So get moving. That's I'm repeating myself there, but just get moving.
Thank you, Balach, for paying it forward and sharing this with the students. We certainly want to see what's happening with your journey. To reach out to us, either, I don't know, myself or to Tanya on the SIBA Business School side, if you want to learn more and be part of it. And remember, you're also walking a journey, Balach, so you can still mentor. So don't hesitate to be part of the platform. Tabang, thank you again for coming and always being supportive on our endeavors. It's always a pleasure having you here as well. From my side, my closing departure point to you, Alan, I want to share much gratitude to you for just your presence. You are traveling at the moment, and yet you still took the time out to be here with us today amidst your travel journeys that should be all fun and craziness, and yet you still saw it was a necessary part of your day. So very thankful and grateful that you're here giving us your wisdom, and yet your humility shines through as well, where we both know it's not all about us, it's about the person in front of us. That came through very strongly today, that you are definitely holding an absolute sacred space for everyone that you supporting on their journey, be it a new founder journey, entrepreneurial, life stages in the business, just an overall venture builder. It's been a privilege and honor to be here with you today. There's still some last comments coming in. Thank you so much for the informative session. Basil, thank you for joining us. Yes, great things start small and it takes time to start slashing. I think we're going to end on that note. I'm going to end the live stream, but please stay with me, Alan, just for a short debrief. And we'll see you hopefully again next quarter. And if there's any particular topic that you think would be pertinent to bring into the awareness and onto this platform, reach out to us as well. We will be most willing to support bringing that into the awareness again. And if you'd like to be part of this conversation, you know where to find us. On that note, I'm ending the live stream, Alan. Thank you.